They weren't going to challenge the pharma industry. You know, they weren't going to challenge like the military industrial complex. In fact, they would cheerlead for it because that is their advertising base. That's the people that, in some cases, actually own the media companies. So it's been really interesting watching that. I've known that for quite some time, but watching how that plays out, especially when they start losing the narrative, and like
Mm.
the more and more desperate moves that are happening to maintain something that's already dead, has been waking up more and more people, and that's been the most interesting thing or aspect of this time to me.
Like Weekend at Bernie's.
For sure. It's like they're holding up this dead view of the world and trying to keep it talking, you know? And it's working still, but it's only really working on like really tuned out Generation X people and, you know, unfortunately most boomers. But I think for the boomers, it's largely just because it's too much to reprogram in mind, you know? There's several that I know that have been kind of awake for a long time about certain things, and they're doing good because they never stopped learning.
Yeah.
But often people, as they get older, they get more set in their ways, they get more set in their narratives, and they get more set in how they receive new information. And if the
Hmm.
only place you're getting information is like MSNBC or Fox News, you're going to be basically a parrot of that narrative. You're getting programmed by the programming. And there's so many layers to that, and it's so uncomfortable to realize that you've been fooled that a lot of people would just rather stay fooled. And that's interesting.
It's when it comes to spiritual warfare, though, the problem is once you start seeing the pattern, you see it everywhere. You know, even like it's everywhere. It was you were spoon fed this shit from day one, so you have to reformulate everything. Everything you were ever taught has a totally different story. So it's like, you know, even including, you know, biblically, or, you know, whatever church you went to, it all starts to click together in one big storyline of like, this is why, you know, you want to ask why things work the way they work, and then they kick you out, you know. So
Hmm.
the people that ask questions make other people uncomfortable. The people that are authentic make people uncomfortable. And why is that? What is the big storyline that everybody's trying to, um, you know? So you have to look at where the shadows are. Why does everybody have the same insecurity? Why does everybody have the same self-doubt? Why does everybody have the same, you know? So that's why this is the me part. Like, I always think about the individual, and then the whole culture. So the spiritual warfare is happening on a one-to-one basis. So I'll pick on Disney. Like, that's a great example of propaganda that is, if you really, really piece it out, like, there's a lot of spiritual warfare in all of those films. We all have the same traumas because we all watched Bambi's mom die like that at a certain age. Like, there was, you know, like, no filter there. So we have the same certain wounds instilled in us, and then we have whatever life experience we booted with on top of that. So um, it's just something to think about. Like, why do certain symbols and sounds all make us feel a certain way? You know, new buildings, okay, new plazas being built. How different is it from that and, you know, the main street in like Disneyland?
For
Not much.
sure.
There's forced perspective everywhere. So what are you really seeing? And once you start unpacking all of this, not just on a like a visual level, a spiritual one, it starts to make you feel completely unstable. Because who are you in this whole mess? And what's the point of going to work tomorrow if this is all a game?